You're about to hear the end of a conversation that Anthony and I have had. Are you ever curious about what we're talking about? Well, you can hear all of those conversations because those conversations in full are delivered to our patrons.
Yep, you head to patreon.com/wehaveconcerns. You get all that bonus audio. You can also get early episodes and hangouts and secret mail. Patreon.com/wehaveconcerns to find out how.
Oh, I love going to bed.
Ooh, ain't nothing better than going to bed instead of working out.
Oh, man.
This is We Have Concerns. Hi, Jeff Canada.
Hi, Anthony Carboni.
Hello, concerned citizens.
It's been a year, 2017,
That's true. I will not argue that.
It has been a year.
It has been 1 year.
We learned some things about, I think as men, we learned some things about women, about the things that they go through on a day-to-day basis. I think we've all come to a place of really thinking about that in ways we weren't forced to think about that before. And I think that's a real growing moment for men.
Yes. I think
if anything, if we'll frame it as what it meant to men.
Yeah. I just hearing all of the things that women in this world have to go through really impacted me.
Yeah.
And my life.
It's changed me.
And if I could just talk about it in terms of me for the next 15 to 20 minutes.
Shut up for like a second and let me talk.
If we could just have less about the horrible things that women go through from women.
Yeah.
And more of like a recontextualizing of it by men.
Yeah.
I think that would be really great.
We are of course kidding me. I do think it is an amazing moment to really understand, or at least have some light shed on a thing that women have been going through forever.
Right. I think a lot of people were surprised by the pervasiveness of it, by how widespread it is throughout all industries, how widespread it is through every single day.
I've certainly had conversations with women in my life and found out things that I didn't know, and it has been shocking and scary and appalling, and I think it's a wonderful growing moment for our culture. But it turns out women have been going through stuff for quite a while, and we got ourselves a story here about something I didn't know about that women have gone through, specifically women in the mid-19th century. This comes from Nuhfer again. Does Nuhfer have a nickname?
Mark Nuhfer? No, I don't think he does.
We got to get Nuhfer a nickname. He's coming through solid, man.
Hey, can we make a note to get Nuhfer a nickname?
Are you talking to our bank of assistants that we have?
Yeah, I'm talking to the typing pool. the hardworking men and women of the We Have Concerns typing pool.
It is so hard to edit out the audio of the furious typing that's happening in the typing pool.
I don't even know what they're typing. I keep telling them that it's a podcast. Like there's no written component to this show.
They're committed to it.
I gotta say, their work ethic really impresses me. Whatever it is they're doing over there.
We are the only podcast with a fully employed typing pool.
That's
and that
right.
is because you donate to our Patreon. Thank you so much.
We could probably use a bookkeeper or a business manager, but we're just going to keep paying the typing pool, I think. I think that's probably the best use of the money.
Their output is staggering. I haven't read any of it, but it is staggering.
I've read some of it, and it turns out they don't even know how to, they're just mashing keys. But they're in every morning, 5 minutes to 9. They're out 15 minutes after 5.
Wow.
They come early, they stay late, they type nonsense.
You're
paying for it.
You got to reward that commitment.
Patreon.com/wehaveconcerns. What happened to women in the 19th century, Jeff?
Well, it turns out they would burst into flames.
No.
It turns out women in the mid-19th century
they would not
burst into flames.
That's not a thing, Jeff.
This is a thing.
Listen, women throughout the ages have had a lot of issues. For sure.
Yeah.
Society has not been great to women, for sure.
Yeah, it's been rough when they
do not burst into flames,
especially
Jeff.
when they burst into flames.
No,
that was
Jeff,
the hardest.
It's not a thing that happens.
Some might say one of the hardest time periods. This is legit. This is a Boing Boing article about a book that was written about how women.
I try to get all my books through articles about books.
Yeah,
that's what I like. And then if there's a BuzzFeed listicle that just takes the 10 best points made in the blog post about the book. And then if somebody could make a YouTube vlog that sort of summarizes those 10 points for me.
Yeah, then I would definitely not watch that.
No, but
feel
I'll read the
headline.
title. I'll read the title of that video and I'll look at the thumbnail and I'll be like, I get this.
Yeah.
I get it.
Here we go. It turns out that in the mid-19th century, women's fashion, all the rage was wearing flowing diaphanous garments made from open weave fabrics like bobinette, cotton muslin, gauze, and tarlatan.
The fly knits. Women were walking around in fly knits.
Yeah.
That's cool. Fly knits are back in.
Very flammable. Inflammable, in fact.
Whoa, I see what you did there. So wait, which one of these? They're all very flammable? Well, yeah, gauze, I guess, is very flammable. That's 1/3 in any video game. 1/3 of a Molotov cocktail is gauze.
Gauze, always need that
gauze. You've got to
gauze.
decide whether you're going to heal yourself.
Right, or use it for the Molotov.
Yeah. So gauze, sure.
Yeah.
What else? Canvas, would you say? Or like
cotton muslin.
Muslin. Oh my God, yeah, muslin will burn up. Gauze will burn up.
Tarlatan.
But what? How is it just...
Bobinette.
Now you're just naming puppets.
Here, now think back.
Oh, it's me, Bobinette.
Oh, Bobinette.
I'm gonna burst into flames.
No, please don't. My hand's in there. Here's the other thing you have to think about with the 19th century, mid-19th century.
Oil lamps.
Yep.
Oil lamps.
Oil lamps.
Oh, Jeff, oil lamps and muslin?
The lack of lighting.
Oil lamps and Babadooks?
The Babadook. Yeah, the problem was there was a demon.
They were wearing Babadooks.
They would arrive from your dreams and set you on fire.
They would wear a Bob's your uncle? Around an oil lamp?
Yeah, you never want that.
Made with the whale blubber?
There's literally no way to light a room other than having open flame.
Oh, no.
And women wore...
What were men wearing?
It's funny you ask. They were wearing wool, which fucking doesn't burn.
Women can't wear wool. That's a man. It's a man garment
material. So here's what you got.
I go work in the bank. They pay me in wool. You can't have
You got a perfect storm happening in the mid-19th century. You have women with these diaphanous garments. You have open flames.
Yeah.
You have smoking is all the rage.
Oh, people love a good smoke.
Yeah, it's a burnt lit cigarette around them at all times. And fashion also dictated that women had big, wide open dresses. Think Scarlett O'Hara, right?
Oh no, the big ones
that would bump up against the open flames and cigarettes.
Jeff, the twirling in the hills.
So all of those things taken together.
Oh my God, they twirl in the hills, and like the edge of the garment catches fire.
Yes,
and fucking Maria's just up there spinning around. The hills are oh God, and it's just like a big fucking pinwheel of flame.
It's a pinwheel. It's like a fire-nado is what it is. And here's the thing. What this article talks about. It's not like it would catch fire and you would smell smoke and you're like, oh my God, you're on fire. Let me put you out.
The other thing they had in the 19th century was odorless fire. No. We had the gas company now adds odors to all fires.
That's not
so
accurate.
when a fire breaks out, you can smell it. And that's what we think of as the smell of burning wood. But burning wood has no smell.
No, that's not.
We add that as a chemical.
We don't.
Oh, okay.
What you
Babadook does it?
The Babadook. That's the Babadook's lone job. You would not get just smoking. You would get literally instantaneous ball of fire.
Right. It's like flash paper.
They're literally dressing in flash paper that's larger than their frame. They're literally dipping flash paper in fire.
9 out of 10 women in the 19th century, their wedding gowns were made of actual flash paper. That was all the rage. It's beautiful. I mean,
it's you want to be the girl on fire.
It has this ethereal sort of look to it.
Yeah.
Because of the thinness and the detail you can get with the flash paper.
Right.
But most brides did not make it all the way down the aisle.
They always wanted to be a magician's bride.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
All the women wanted to marry a magician.
Flash
that's the
paper.
thing. It's the most dangerous because they're attracted to the bad boys and the danger.
That's the bad boys.
That's the bad boy thing.
Listen to this quote. It said, it's not a buildup like, oh my gosh, you're smoking, let me tamp that out. It's like, your girlfriend beside you is a ball of fire, and now you're a ball of fire, and boom, 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 boom.
That was a Katy Perry song.
Balls of fire.
My girlfriend is a ball of fire. Now I'm a ball of fire. Now we're all balls of fire.
Boom, 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 boom,
boom. Boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, that was a good hit.
It might have been Kesha. So what?
Let me tell you.
Why did they keep letting women dress in? Because they didn't care.
It gets worse.
They just didn't care.
They had
darling. Could you? Are you bringing the roast to the table? I'm so sorry, Jeffers. I'm so sorry. Just one moment. Honey.
What?
Jeffers is here from the bank. Are you? She just keeps running back and forth.
Yeah. Well, I can come back if this is a bad time.
Jeffers, he has a delicate. No, you stay.
Okay.
You stay.
All right.
She has to learn. You know he has the delicate lungs.
Is it warm in here?
You shouldn't be spreading all that smoke.
Is she cooking on my behalf? You don't need to cook just on my behalf.
You don't. Oh, please! It's no trouble. It's absolutely no trouble.
All right.
We're just going to cook you a 6 or 7 course meal. She literally has nothing else to do.
That sounds delightful.
Why are you screaming? Why are you screaming? It's this hysteria. The women are just hysterical.
You know, the same thing happened to my wife. It's true.
Really?
Yes. I tried to get her to cook just one simple 7 or 8 course meal. And next thing I know, she's a ball of fire running through the kitchen.
Calm down.
That's what I say.
Everything is.
It's this women hysteria thing.
That's the thing. I put my wife in a box. I slice it. I saw her in half.
Right.
She screams the whole time. I'm going to work out the trick. I'm going to work it out. If she didn't want to. If she didn't want to be a part of this, she shouldn't have married such a bad boy.
Right.
Stop screaming. Open a window if you're going to smoke. Jeffers has a delicate constitution.
I can come back later. It's
no.
problem.
You stay.
Okay.
If anything, I'll throw her out.
And that was the mid-19th
into the gas fields.
So it gets worse, Anthony, because they had methods even then to make fabrics flame resistant. They had flame retardant chemicals that they could put. In fact, these same things were required for theater workers at the time because there was lighting.
Those are theater workers, Jeff. These are just women. We should just, for the same amount of money that it costs to make a fabric flame retardant, you could get a penny farthing,
right?
Or mustache wax,
and mustache wax,
or a non-prescription monocle that you could pop out of your eye when your wife does something surprising.
Yeah, how else will she know?
And she should know.
She needs to know. No, they had these chemicals, but they made fabrics. They yellowed the fabric slightly, and they made them stiff. And so, fashion of the day said, "Don't do it." Do not. Women, as always, were forced to choose fashion and being fashionable and being presentable over their own fucking safety.
Well, with high heels, it used to be. Now it goes out and down, but it used to go up and in the heel.
Yeah, it was just a spike.
It was just a flat shoe with a spike.
Yeah,
and they would balance on the spike. And that's how they would work.
It was really,
and then eventually, in the 1920s, it was eventually a woman who was like, "Hey, invert this spike."
Yeah, and then another woman was like, "Can we just get rid of the spike altogether?" And they're like, "No, we'll just invert it."
Look at the way it makes my calves look.
So you would say to me, Anthony, wouldn't you? How many people could this possibly have affected?
I'm going to say. There are 1,000 known cases of women spontaneously combusting due to their fabrics.
Well, in 1860, the British medical journal, known as Lancet, estimated that in that year alone, 3,000 women died by bursting into flames. 3,000 women
in 1864?
1860.
3,000 women burst into flames. They knew about it. A journal reported on it.
They did nothing.
And they did nothing.
They said the most vulnerable to death by fire may have been ballet dancers.
And they were like, there were like dressmakers who were like, look, I am not doubting that some women are bursting into flames. I'm not doubting that.
Right.
But I am not a bad dressmaker.
No, your dresses are beautiful.
I am not making dresses specifically to catch women on fire. Right. I am not the villain here. Well, also, do we know that all these women actually caught fire? How many of these women say that they caught fire? Do we have evidence of the fire? Do we have photographs yet?
No one's in.
I am on the edge of town.
I think we have photographs.
I think I've heard of them, but I haven't been in one yet.
I'm not impugning your ability.
Not all dressmakers.
Right. No, your dress is amazing.
Thank you.
Your dresses are amazing. I'm just asking why they need to have the flint on the cuffs.
The flint on the cuff is my trademark.
I understand that.
Listen, I'm putting flints on the cuffs. So what? It's not up to me. They're adults. If they don't like it, they don't rub their wrists together. That's all.
Yeah, but when they're cooking, the wrists kind of sometimes. Okay, all right. We'll
Be careful. These are adults. They shouldn't be putting themselves in situations where they're going to burst into fire.
I understand.
It's not on me. It's on them.
Do you need?
Why don't they just do life different?
That is a good. That is
Think
a good
about
question.
That. Why are they not doing life different?
But do you need the knee sparklers?
Yes, I need the knee sparklers.
Okay.
It's 1861. Everyone's in knee sparklers.
I do.
And we're riding around on penny farthings. And I guess we have photographs. It's like you're not keeping up with things.
It's like I'm not. All right. No, you're right. You're in the right. I'm in the wrong.
Anyway,
the women will
saying,
just burn.
I feel bad for these women, the ones that are telling the truth and are actually catching on fire.
Sure.
Hold on a second. Honey, enough with the running back and forth.
When is that 7-course meal going to be here?
I don't know. You see what I'm dealing with.
I do. It's hard to be a dressmaker these days.
You
What with
said it.
women bursting into flames.
And then blaming it on me.
3,000 women. 3,000 women. Ballet dancers were a particular problem.
Oh my God. So the rest of the theater workers are putting the flame retardant stuff on their costumes.
Yeah, you don't want to be a stagehand and burst into flames when the ballet dancer goes up.
But hey, if during the Nutcracker, the little girl bursts into flames, that's a beautiful ending.
That's called a
you
crescendo.
Roast a chestnut?
They call that a crescendo.
That's what they call it.
Yeah.
I know everything there is to know about ballet, and that's a crescendo.
They said in one instance in 1861, at least 6 ballet dancers died when they tried to help one dancer whose costume caught fire.
And the stagehands would have helped, but it's like a union thing.
Yeah.
They can't touch them.
They were
afraid that if they touched the woman to put the fire out,
then she would never be able to marry.
She would never be able to marry.
She was unclean.
They would have a reputation.
Right.
Like, oh, you're that guy who just touches women. When is it okay to touch women? They wanted to know.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
If I put the fire out, does that make me a pervert then?
I think it
What about hugging at work?
You
like
never know.
long hugs.
Slippery slope, right?
Like really weirdly long hugs.
Then you are a pervert. But it's the slippery slope because
I only hug the women at work. What's wrong with that?
I don't know.
All right.
It's a different world now in 1860.
Well, that lady just burst into flames while we were talking. And it's not on us.
No, of course not. There was an aristocrat whose father walked in the room. She was a duchess, and her father walked in the room while she was smoking, and she didn't want the father to see. She put the cigarette behind her back, burst into flames.
Cigarette behind the back doesn't really work anyway because the smoke's going to come out of the top of your head.
That's true.
You really do have to just stomp it out. You have to immediately stomp it out.
Yeah.
So in that case,
do the
it's
grease
her
thing.
Fault. Nope.
This is craziness to me. Why have I never heard about this before?
I don't know. Golly.
There's all these.
So when did it stop?
That's by the way, that was Archduchess Matilde of Austria.
Sure it was.
Yeah.
That sounds like that's so Matilda.
Yeah.
When did it stop, Jeff?
It still goes on to this day, Anthony. You just don't notice it because you're so wrapped up in your male-centric world.
Wow.
Yeah.
That
you wouldn't even see a woman burst into flames today. You just can't even see it.
Huh. Well, I've learned something about me.
Yeah, it says around the 1870s, fashion trends evolved. Bustles became popular, which shifted the fullness of the dress back to where it was full in the front, and the skirts slimmed down by the 1900s. And
eventually, nature took its course. You know what I'm saying? Like we just did not acknowledge the problem, and eventually it went away.
It literally,
and I think there's a lesson there.
It literally was that like
there's a lesson there for all of us.
It just wasn't attractive anymore to have the conditions that cause. It wasn't hot. You know what I'm saying? It didn't look hot.
Oh,
see what I did there?
God, Jeff.
That's where we actually got the term of a woman being hot.
Jeff. I'm not. You would think that I'm making these noises because of your terrible dad joke, and part of it is that, but part of it is also just like, holy shit, women.
Yeah, we're monsters.
Yeah, I don't know what we've learned.
Not much.
Not much. It's an interesting story, though.
Yeah.
How about that?
If only there was Twitter around in the 1860s so that we could have a hashtag, I also burst into flames.
Yeah, sometimes men burst into flames. Come on. There was that one guy who burst into flames once.
Yeah.
Think about that.
They literally they talk about in this article about how men would fall asleep with like a pipe in their mouth or a cigarette, and it would land on their shirt and it would just gently be extinguished by the wool overcoat they were wearing.
Or by his wife, who would then immediately burst into flames. She would come over and just be like, oh, Daryl, you're so... Honey, please, I was napping. What a nightmare. As always, we end this episode with sorry.
Sorry, everybody.
Apologies to women.
Sorry, women.
Apologies. Sorry.
We're all learning a little more, though.
Yeah, we're learning a little bit more. You know, I will say this. There are still stupid decisions that I think we all make for fashion and style.
Yeah.
I have made quite a few in my life. I would say a couple of the biggest ones were Jinkos. Which did catch on fire once.
Yeah.
My Jinkos, but
but you managed to escape.
But I did manage to escape. I just crawled out the other end of my giant jeans. And
I had a hypercolor shirt. I loved it.
Yeah. These are more like fashion mistakes.
Yeah. Not life-threatening.
No. I would think the most painful thing. Gosh, guys don't really do painful fashion
that's
stuff.
the problem. That's what we're here for. We're here to learn about that.
Yeah, just suits. Suits are sometimes uncomfortable, and that's the worst we've got.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, my wife carries like 3 different pairs of shoes in a bag for when we go out so her feet don't get destroyed.
Yeah.
I would like to know, though, what are some of the most actual physically painful fashion things you've ever had to wear? Is there anything you've ever had to wear clothing-wise or wanted to wear clothing-wise? Something you put on and you were like, oh, this was a mistake and then never wore again. Any of those things we'd love to hear about. You can let us know on Twitter. I'm at @acarboni.
I'm at Jeff Canada.
You can hashtag those inverted spike. And hey, speaking of fashion, here are some good fashion decisions you can make. Head to the We Have Concerns shop.
Nice.
WeHaveConcerns.com/store and buy some of our fashion stuff.
We are not aware of any of them bursting into flames as of yet.
No, legally, we are not aware.
Nope.
Publicly, we are not aware. Privately, we don't sleep as well as we used to. But once again, publicly,
unrelated.
We don't think anybody's ever died from wearing our shirts. WeHaveConcerns.com/shop.